Russia has been massing military forces near the border with Ukraine as Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel warned of catastrophe unless Moscow changes course. Western leaders, including Britain and the United States, have threatened serious steps if a referendum on Crimea joining Russia goes ahead this weekend. Our international editor, Lindsay Hilsum, is in the Crimean capital of Simferopol. Lindsay.
John, a lot of concern in the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, and in Western capitals about those Russian military maneuvers. But here in Crimea, what people have been worrying about today is money. There have been queues at the cash points at many different banks here. That is because the Crimean authorities say that after the referendum on Sunday, when Crimea is likely to revert to Russia, they will nationalize the Crimean branches of the Ukrainian banks. Now, that, of course, is of great concern to people. There are already restrictions on how much money people can take out. So at the queues today, I asked a couple of people what their worries were.
If they would give us our money on demand, then we wouldn't be worried. Every day, the limit of what we can get out gets lower and lower.
They told us all the banks would work, but I tried to get my pension from another bank machine, but it was empty, so now I've come here.
You might think that the authorities then would be trying to reassure people, but you know they're not. They're not really talking about the future at all. They're selling this referendum on the glories of the past. Wherever the night wolves are should be considered Russia. President Putin's favorite biker gang showed up in Sevastopol. They're big supporters of Sunday's referendum on returning Crimea to Russia. Their leader, the surgeon, nicknamed because of his knife-fighting skills, may not look as if he needs protection, but the Crimean Self-Defense Force is on hand.
I want to wait until the referendum is held and rejoice with Sevastopol. I'd like to celebrate with Sevastopol. These are things we've dreamed of, and they're coming true.
He's treated like a celebrity. Riding off to the glory of Russia. Restoring Crimea to its proper place in Soviet and Russian history. The surgeon loves being seen with Soviet veterans of World War II. As a young Marine, 92-year-old Matsegor Ivan Grigorievich defended Sevastopol against the Nazis until surrender in the summer of 1942. 18. So which year is this? Patriotism runs through his blood. But to which country now?
I'm a citizen of Ukraine. I have a Ukrainian passport. Legally, I'm Ukrainian. But I don't forget that I was a citizen of the Soviet Union, and Russia is equally close to my heart.
Heroes of the Great Patriotic War, like him, are invoked by Crimean and Russian politicians today, who say the new government in Kiev is fascist. So they've made Sunday's referendum choice helpfully simple. Join Russia or surrender to the Nazis.
They
do this because our grandparents fought fascism. Now they say the fascists are coming back to Crimea. That's why people are so aggressive and are mobilizing in self-defense. But I don't see it like that. It's not the same fascism as in those days, nor the same war, nor the same threat against our land.
At the end of World War II, a few miles away in Yalta, Churchill, Stalin and Roosevelt met to divvy up Europe. Now they're a museum exhibit for tourists. But just as Stalin saw Ukraine as a buffer against the West, so does President Putin today. 70 years on, Russian troops are digging defensive positions in Crimea. It's President Putin's warning. If the new government in Kiev looks west to Europe, he may seize more of Ukraine. The past is not another country, it's right here. The European Union leaders are saying that they may impose sanctions on certain Russians, it's not clear exactly who yet, by Monday, if Russia doesn't stop, as they put it, annexing Crimea. Tomorrow, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will meet John Kerry, the US Secretary of State, in London. That's a last attempt at a diplomatic solution to this. But I have to say, here in Simferopol, in Crimea, it looks like a done deal. This referendum will go ahead on Sunday. It seems almost impossible that Crimea will not revert to Russia.
Lindsay Hilson in Crimea.